Olá, boa tarde. Welcome to this month webinar for DAMA Portugal Lisbon. We are super happy to have you here with us. As usual, I will start by the intros. Today we are extremely lucky to be joined by Orquídea Fonseca. Orquídea Fonseca, she's a data strategy lead at Saint-Gobain, and also by Sandro Scordo, who is the head of data strategy and governance COE in BI4ALL. And they were kind enough to bring one of the topics that people ask more about when in this era of AI, that is around data maturity. Are we ready for AI? So they will walk us through their data maturity journey and how they approach it. As usual, we love this to be super interactive. So if you have any questions, please, on the top right corner, you'll see the Q&A. You can start submitting as we go along your questions. And at the end, we have some time reserved to go through that, and we look forward to it. So I will go through the agenda. First, can move to the next slide. Awesome. So in terms of the agenda today, I promise not to take too much long, but for anyone that is new to the DAMA Portugal, as the director for events, I would love to just recap. What are we trying to do? What is our aim? And how can you join us as well? It will be just a couple of minutes, I promise. And from there, I will hand over to Sandro and Orquídea. And then, as I mentioned, we'll have some time for Q&A. So what is DAMA Portugal Lisbon all about? So we are a non-for-profit community. All of us are volunteers here, but what we have in common is we are all passionate about data, about AI, and how to really make use of that to improve different organizations and the way we interact across each other. So DAMA Portugal comes as a community that is aiming to really bring together these like-minded people. What we're trying to enable is just how can we share more insights? How can we foster collaboration? How can we help and learn from each other? So a different way of putting it, if we move to the next slide. We are here really to help promote international recognized data management best practices, and I will cover in a second how we do that, what is the framework. And if you follow us for a while, you'll see that we have invited not only, which always like Portuguese speakers, but also international speakers, so we can also learn from each other. We want to empower professionals for data growth through certifications, for example, and I will cover that, but also create that positive change. So if you can move to the next slide. So what is a framework? How DAMA started and how it is evolving? In case you are not familiar, there is the DM book that has some of the best practice around different data management disciplines, the famous wheel, let's say. And while the book exists for a while, and now we are just working on the next version, the reality is in the last 1 or 2 years, the focus on some of these skills in terms of data privacy, data security, data quality has been increased a lot, given where we are and given the focus on moving towards using more AI, and we know that AI is as good as the data that feeds it. So which is great to see for someone that comes from that data background, I will be honest. What you see here on the right side is some of the certifications. So if you are passionate about this area, there is certifications that are recognized worldwide that you can take in different levels, as you can see here. As part of the DAMA Portugal Lisbon chapter, if you move to the next slide. There are a few benefits that we are working to offer you, and you have here the QR code that you can scan if you want to join us. I will also share a link on the chat. But really, being part of this community, what it means is not only having access to exclusive webinars and connect with a similar network of peers, but also we are working on enabling things like focus group, having pay-as-you-pass certification event that you can come and you just pay as you pass, as the name says, on trying to really help from a countrywide elevate recognition in this space as well. So we love to have you with us. You can follow us. I will share on LinkedIn, but if you want to become a member, as I said, there are some exclusive benefits to it as well. The next slide. And then finally, if you are here representing a company or a partner, we have already a few partners. BI4ALL is one of our gold partners. I will let Sandro speak about it in a second. But really, this gives you the opportunity to collaborate directly with us, to help us scale and improve in this space. So how to become a partner? You can email us at contact@damaportugal.org to book a strategic meeting with our director of partnerships, and we would love to discuss further in terms of some of these benefits that you see here on the right, in terms of participation in working groups, presence at the key events, and so forth. So without further ado, I would like to pass it to Sandro now. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so BI4ALL indeed is a Microsoft Gold partner of DAMA Portugal Lisbon. It means that the entire company is committed from all levels to embrace global data management best practices. This also, we know that nowadays includes also AI, governance, quality, and maturity. Moving on, so if you don't know what is BI4ALL, BI4ALL is a company, is a data consultancy company now part of the group Plexus Tech Group. So the BI4ALL cluster part of Plexus. So at BI4ALL we are 375 people. You can see that we have more than 20 years experience in the data management spectrum. Our expertise includes artificial intelligence, data science, data and AI strategy and governance, but also we are pretty strong on data analytics and software engineering. Moving on, so I would like to introduce today Saint-Gobain. Vanessa already mentioned about the topic of today. So we are going to talk about enterprise data maturity assessment and more in detail around how BI4ALL has been working with Saint-Gobain in steering this forward and leading with no authority across the full data ecosystem. So Orquídea, do you mind introducing Saint-Gobain?
Thank you, Sandro. So first of all, I would like to thank DAMA Portugal and BI4ALL for the invitation and for the opportunity to be here today and share the experience and lessons learned of what was this data maturity journey for us at Saint-Gobain. And to start with, to understand why data maturity framework becomes so important for us, it's first useful to understand the scale and the diversity inside Saint-Gobain. So it's a company, like you can see, with more than 360 years, present in around 80 countries, with a large industrial and manufacturing footprint. So we focus more in the sustainable construction and industrial decarbonization. So solutions that can support energy efficiency, lightweight construction, renovation, and to have more sustainable living spaces. This scale and this strength, from a data perspective, it's also that creates complexity, because we will have different business, different countries, cultures, functions that may have different priorities, different levels of maturity, and even different ways of managing data. So that was exactly why we started to think that common framework, something that could create this visibility and alignment between all the entities, could be the good way to go forward for us. So I will pass over Sandro. He will deep dive now with you into how we started, how was our challenges.
Thank you, Orquídea. So it's a bit a story of how we've been working together, so how BI4ALL and Saint-Gobain has been working together. So Saint-Gobain is a decentralized multinational organization. So it means that it has multiple, we can call independent entities, or someone might understand this better if we talk about business unit, but let's say independent business, all managing their own data initiative. The Orquídea works for the central data team that is a team tasked to provide services to these entities, but at the same time to lead with no direct authority. So the CDO came to us asking, how can we shape the agenda of these entities, because they were all basically working, going on their own way, let's say, so not making the most of the economies of the network. So the job was exactly this, so drive a cohesive agenda across multiple entities without direct authority. So the solution that was already part of the strategic roadmap of the CDO was to figure out an enterprise solution that would allow the central team to strategize their own data discipline, so these services that were provided by the central team. So we're talking about disciplines such as AI, IT, data governance, data architecture, IoT, you name all the various capabilities of Saint-Gobain. What we wanted to do is to design not only a maturity assessment, because you understood we are talking about this, but it's about building an engaging experience that will not only enable the diagnosis at entity level, but also will start working on the data literacy of the people taking part of the assessment from day one. So this enterprise maturity assessment was, in a nutshell, a framework that aligned wherever was possible with the DM book versus version 2, so applicable to a constellation of multiple entities, but also structural business processes, because our idea was to scale from day one, so we had to think about building a repeatable experience, so business processes were needed. And at the same time, as I just said, the idea was to scale from day one, and there was already the idea of building a solution that was self-service, okay, or a semi-self-service, so human with human control. But I will let that Orquídea explains to you a bit more the details of how we did work together and how we've been building this solution that nowadays is actually utilized at Saint-Gobain. Orquídea, do you want to delve into the details, please?
Sure. Thank you, Sandro. So the data maturity helped us to structure this journey. And we knew what we want, right? We had our main outcomes. So we want to first to develop the assessment that understand where the organization or the BU is today, identify the strengths, weakness, and gaps. Second, this will give these entities, we could say global or local entities, the capacity to focus on what really matters and how they want to delve in this journey. And then on the third, you will have the roadmap. So when you define the priorities, you can start to creating your roadmap and translate these results into a practical improvement plan. So with clear actions and ownership for the business. And of course, finally, this will lead to a lever to develop capabilities, governance, and culture, and adoption. So it will lead to a transformation itself inside the business units. So the idea at the end, the assessment never was the end goal. It was just a starting point. So we could have more focus and impact more the business transformation. So it was how we started. So we organized this framework in a way that it could be accessible for our users. So instead that presenting all the data maturity as one large and complex topic with data and AI together, we structure it into clear areas that we call it streams, such as you can see, data and AI strategy, data governance, data technologies and foundations, data as a service, and AI at scale. So this was the idea to help the users then to navigate. So it was also helping everyone that participates or participated and still participate understand that data maturity, it's not only one topic, it's a multidimensional topic, and it's not only about tools, platforms, or dashboards. If we will see in more detail, Sandro, yes. So if you'll see more detail.
Yeah, it's a bit delayed, Orquídea. Yeah.
No worries. So this was how we structure the data maturity framework. So we organize it into streams and then into topics. Each streams represent an important capability area, but then each topic allows us to go deeper into a specific dimension of maturity. So for example, we will focus now on data and AI strategy. And as you can see, you don't have only topics on tools and platforms. You will have business use case. We'll have a topic on data roadmap, data literacy, executive sponsorship, and data products. So if we go deep onto data literacy now, so you can see that each subject card explained that topic in a simple and structured way. And this was very important because we did not want the framework to be understandable only by data experts. We wanted business stakeholders, IT teams, local teams, leaders to be able to read it and recognize it in their own reality. So the subject card helped us to create this common language and also to avoid ambiguity between everyone. So when we speak about data literacy, for instance, we want everyone to understand the same concept. So for each card that you saw previously, we had the same structure. So we started with information. Here, we have an example of one subject card that is data literacy. So for information, we have what the topic is about, why it matters, which stakeholders are involved, and what tools or enablers we have that can support your maturity journey. So for us, data literacy is essential because people can only use data effectively if they understand its value, its risks, and how we can work with in their own role. So now if we pass through the assessment, it shows how we translated the topic into maturity levels. So as you can see, we described how maturity looks like from initial to predictable level. So initial level, the organization has not yet assessed data skills or created a structure itself. But as the maturity increase, you will start to be identifying roles, have structured learning paths, trainings, monitoring, feedback loops, and everything also integrated with HR and also the business strategy. And
Okay.
finally,
Orquídea, just I can mention that this was for us a bit an opportunity to strategize some of these elements, isn't it? So building the maturity assessment itself was a way to reflect and strategize all these cards that we've been looking, all these subjects, isn't it? So it's not matter only building of an assessment, but also a matter of putting a bunch of heads because I've been working with the multiple heads in your department, in your central unit, to make them talk about how good looks like for them. And sometimes it was not that obvious. For example, I recall the one around MDM, for example, was one of the discussion that we had, or we've been talking about other topics. Data product was one of them, for example. Sorry,
No,
you were
exactly. No,
yeah.
exactly. Thank you, Sandro, for sharing this. Yes, it was the opportunity initially to start to get together all these, let's say, business subject matter experts together and try to also find a consensus of how we would like to strategize it for Saint-Gobain, because we have a specific details, specific, a diverse ways of working that would create, because of this decentralized way of working, it will create some, let's say, not so good interaction since the beginning. So everyone will always not be in according to it. So it could be interesting to have this work, this first work. It was very, very important for us to get this internal alignment also. Yeah. And then we had the key actions. I will not bring you something to present, but just for you to know what it is. So we have the assessment, did not stop it in diagnosis phase. The idea it was to provide also a guidance on what could be done for you to get on the next level. So we prepared also this structured recommendation level per level, card by card. Of course, one important also thing to mention is that each card, subject card, only had one card owner. So that person at the end of the day inside the team was responsible for the final decision about that strategy of the topic. Okay. So we knew that the creation of the framework was only the first step. So the real challenge will be adoption. We knew that since day one. So we started with a series of pilot workshops involving different organizations, different functions. And our goal, it was not at the time to test only the framework, but also observe how people interact, if they were understanding, what improvements we need to make if we would like to scale. So one of the first Imagine lessons learned, one story that I can tell you about is during the first workshop, we understood immediately that the participants would like to add comments. And the only field with free text, it was if you choose not able to answer, and then you will have a free text option. So we noticed that people wanted to share their realities. They wanted to share information about their scope. So we thought that, okay, let's change right now and let's capture this since the beginning and don't leave it until the end of the pilot and then we ask feedback, because, time, sometimes it's important. And if you are doing it at that period when you are answering the assessment, it's completely different than doing maybe 3 weeks later or 1 month later. Also, this was very important signal for us. It showed that people were engaged and wanted their maturity assessments to be accurate and reflect the situation. So we changed it and we had comments for all the questions openly, so as an option. This was a good example that I could share with us about what we did regarding to this active listening that we were expecting from it.
And we did all of this because we had a plan, no? The plan was around the data roadmap. So people were a bit fleshing out also their pain point. not only to build the awareness around the pain point itself and to communicate transversally that this pain point at that magnitude has that impact, but also to open the door to another discussion, which is indeed the data roadmap of the entity itself. Or go the next, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So just for you to understand in a more, let's say, easy way. So we started after created the first, let's say, version of the framework, like you saw, with information assessment and key actions per each subject card. We moved to the pilot phase. So we started to engage with some specific business units. And because we wanted this completely different, diverse, because we needed to test in different environments, so we selected one global function. It was finance. We selected one European country, one American country, and a global business unit present in several countries in the world. So the idea was to assess the same methodology with all these different realities internally. The deliverables for each phase would include, the enterprise assessment, a dashboard, the blueprint that Sandro will speak to you soon with more details. And after collect all this, we pass it through a second phase that said, yes, we are ready to scale. So if we are ready to scale, how we will do it? So we need to create a self-assessment tool. And that's why in this phase 2, one of the deliverables that also BI4ALL supported us, it was the design of the requirements for this new tool with, of course, all the learnings that we received from the pilot. So Sandro, I will pass to you to give more details about this.
Sure. Thank you, Orquídea. So the game was for us a bit envisaging future business processes. So how this future data maturity assessment will work with the control of the, let's say, with the support and control of the central team, but fully run by the local entity. So that's why we've been starting gathering a bunch of requirements in the shape of user stories. So many of you will be familiar with this. And we try to understand how this solution will look like. We draw diagram in business process maps aligned with BPMN standards to figuring out a bit these processes. So we've been kind of trying to a bit mine the process that will be leveraged also in the future. We've been also building logics. I know that is a bit blurry because we cannot share everything, but we've been designing logics for AI to be leveraged within the solution. And we also designed the solution that you can have a bit an idea how this is going to look like. So it was a web app. We also worked building conceptual data models. So why conceptual data models? Because for us it was essential to align both the business, so Orquídea first as a lead, but also the rest of the key stakeholders around how this solution should be looking like, so we can build the technical part with the logical data model. So this is a bit a snapshot of some of the artifacts we delivered. And we also solutionized the maturity assessment. As you can see here, I'm not here entering into the fine details, but it's basically the solution was a web app. We also added some enterprise considerations, so how the solution will fit with the full enterprise stack, what are, the risks involved. We talked about who should be doing what, so in terms of permissions and RACI metrics. So all of this was functional to get at the end something tangible which is this solution that Orquídea is going to explain to us with more detail.
Sure. So the self-assessment was designed first to be simple and realistic for the participants. So the objective it was that users could complete at their own pace, focusing on the data that they actually work with and answering based on that the reality that they really know. This was also come from the lessons learned. In the workshops, someone always asked us, I think, or they would say, I think it's like this, but I don't work with. So when you mean I think, it means that it's not you don't work with it, so you should not answer with it. Otherwise, we will have some bias in the assessment itself. So the goal, it was not to have or to force perfect answers. The goal is really to get honest view of maturity that reflects their current situation. Another lessons learned, it was remember the 5 streams. So one of the streams, it was very technical, the data tech foundations. So we decided to leave it in the self-assessment to the consideration of the data maturity owner to decide if everyone should answer or only the IT data, the technical team should answer the questions from this stream. That's why you see that it's between 27 or sometimes 32 questions.
And that is actually a great point because also in other customers we've been, speaking as a BI4ALL, we got the same question: who should be answering the maturity assessment? And everything depends on your own operating model, on the stage of maturity of your own organization. If you're at the beginning of your journey, likely you don't even have roles, responsibility well defined. So, but if you are talking about a company that was so distributed, like Saint-Gobain, with different level of maturity and so on, that was the response was not that straightforward. We had to first figure it out how the business was operating, the individual business was operating, to recommend the people to join these workshops, isn't it?
Exactly, and we needed that flexibility.
Yeah.
So this is just some prints of how it looks like nowadays. Our objective was not simply digitize, let's say, the questionnaire. We wanted to create an experience that would guide users through the entire journey. So since the invitation, as you can see here, until the assessment completion, the receiving of the recommendations, the dashboard, everything. One of also lessons learned, it was some participants were not familiar with some topics. So they were a bit frustrated, let's say, when they start to answer the questions from that topic for that subject. So one of the things that we did, it was in the tool to create these small short videos, like I will not call it e-learning, but something that would help them before they get to the answers to have some support, so they don't arrive directly to some topics they are not familiar with. Also, if you can go, Sandro, we also introduce, so also to help us on this is how the look and feel of the assessment. So we also decided to introduce an AI assistant capable, a little closer, so just capable of comparing maturity levels, explain in other words what each level means, help users to interpret their assessment criteria. So this helped make the process more consistent and try to reduce ambiguity. while they were answering the questions. Of course, not everyone use it, but the ones that feel more uncomfortable, they can have at least another option to feel more connected and to have another way to see the questions. And one of the most important message for me during the whole process, it's that maturity, it's not an IT topic. So that's why it's a business transformation topic, of course, enabled by IT, by the IT teams, but also sponsored by leadership. So in our approach, since the beginning, since the pilot, so from the workshops, we knew that the business needs to own their priorities, their roadmaps, and the use cases and adoption. So IT data teams should be there for as enablement of the platforms, of the tools, the governance, and the leadership should provide a sponsorship, the direction and support, and remove, for instance, some blockers if they exist. So we tested this methodology since the workshops, and then because we thought it was really causing great impact, involve the business since day one of the assessment. So on the self-assessment, we have the same criteria. So we have someone that will approve your assessment based on these criteria. So this shared ownership for us, it was essential. Because if data maturity is only seen like a technical exercise, it will not have the impact for the business that we wanted to promote. And just for sum up of how we were before and what we wanted to achieve. So we started from a model that could have remained manual, expert-led consulting exercise in the beginning, some years before we started this with BI4ALL. But our ambition was to move through as a repeatable enterprise capability. So that means move from one-off assessment to a standardized methodology, from static reports to actionable recommendations, and also from local knowledge to shared organization learning. Because the truth now is that if I know that a business that I know that is a lot more mature than me in a certain topic, and can just cross-check and learn with each other. So the idea at the end is to have this benchmarking not only, but these learning opportunities between everyone and this sharing to everyone. So this is also the starting point. So the framework becomes more powerful. It's not longer just because the diagnosis, it becomes part of how the organization then continuously evolve the data analytic capabilities and start to construct the roadmaps by their own, or with our support, the central team, but at least to have some guidance since the day one. For us, the journey is still evolving, so we did not stop. But the key lesson is clear. So data maturity becomes valuable when it's business driven. So when the actions and the designed roadmaps are owned by the business, because then the adoption, it's much more easier because you will have the ownership. So this was what I had to share with you today. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, both Orquídea and Sandra. I really feel that I learned a lot, and the fact that you were kind enough to share some of the assets and how it looks, bring it to life as well. I want to thank you to everyone. We have a couple of people that already post questions, so I will prioritize those. And if you have other questions, please keep posting, even if we don't have time to go through all of them. We'll send after the webinar the answers to all of you. So I feel you already covered loads of this, but I will ask it anyway. So Gustavo, and thank you, Gustavo, for asking the question asked, not from so much from a technical perspective, but more from an organizational change management perspective. What were the main challenges? You spoke about lots of the things you did around making sure there is 60% representation of the business, making sure that you had those videos. So from a data literacy, people were calm, know what we are asking and understand the language. So making it business friendly almost, making sure that you tailor the questionnaire based on the workshops to have questions specific and tailored to that specific interest of that business, so they can relate instead of just saying, I think something should be like this. So I love that. Are there any other things that you feel, oh, there's this thing that was really tricky, and that you will advise someone starting on this journey to think about?
I think that imposing, it's never a good idea. So that's why I said now at the end, it should come from the business. So it's something that, because this will be like your first step to promote adoption, because it will become from inside the business unit need and not the other way around. I think this is also important. And if you talk with someone with a business unit and they say, I don't need, this will not be interesting for me, and I don't need that because I already know where I am. So someone once told me that I already know, I don't need this, I just need to move forward. So in this kind of situation, my experience says, don't push, it will come later. So it's for us, because we are a big organization, so it should be step by step. I think also do it step by step, bringing the ones that want to adopt now because they feel that they need, and bring them to the spotlight. This will also help the others then to come. Yeah.
Awesome. So I love that idea of creating champs. I'm a big fan of that.
Exactly.
Create your
Yes.
champs and get your champs.
Exactly.
Speak for yourself. normally works well. Awesome. Thank you again,
Also,
Gustavo.
I can complement this a bit. The maturity assessment itself creates some dynamics that are a bit like a competition dynamics. Okay, so if someone does not see the value of all of it in the first place, as soon as you kick off and other department, other business units will see this value, then it will be easier, because people will like to catch up on what your neighbor is doing, because they start seeing the value. So this is also to bear in mind.
So what I'm hearing, if I play back, is create your champs, and then a bit of gamification. Everyone has that healthy competition that we all want to show the value. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Another question now from Anna. Anna, thank you again for asking this question. And probably this is a bit for both of you. I will start with you, Sandro, probably. If there is any metrics or KPIs that you use as part of this assessment to measure that progress in the data maturity, and I know Orquídea show on some of the slides that you have that on the AI assistant comparison, but if you can speak a bit through that, and how do you to ensure that you are really delivering business value?
That's a good question. So there we go. So we actually ingest these key indicators in these subject cards. So now you can see here some of these key indicators with the one we actually agreed with Orquídea in relation to data literacy. So the game was exactly to track key indicators per each discipline. assigning the right ownership per each card, per each discipline. Okay, so let's say that the card owner, in this case, was responsible of checking the business value delivered through the maturity assessment itself. Orquídea, would you like to complement a bit?
Yes, let's say that then also for making sure that we start to have enterprise assessment. When we created also, it's not so related with the data maturity itself of the business, but for us that we want to try to scale, we created these metrics also of the assessment itself. So we receive feedback also after when you finish your assessment, you give us feedback, and we have some metrics to understand, for instance, if you are using AI, it's important for us to know in which question are you using AI. Why? Because maybe the question is not well formulated. So the work didn't stop yet. So it's something that we are monitoring continuously. And then also for the business units itself, in also the self-assessment tool, they have a space for them, and they would be able to see, of course, we have the first year. So the first year of the tool is just 2026, but you will see always the last 3 years. So you can keep also continue this and comparing with your assessment from last year. And you also have an option that you can add like a data journey, let's say. So if my roadmap was inside this stream, this topic specifically, and if it made an impact or not. So we also have this in the tool.
Awesome, love that. I'm conscious of time. We are into 2 minutes over, but I would love to thank everyone that joined us today. We shared in the chat. If you want to follow us for, just keep an eye on latest updates, what we are doing, what is coming. We shared our LinkedIn page there that you can just follow. But if you want to take it further and if you want to join us, there's lots of opportunities for you to come, join us, learn from others, but also share and be a speaker. We would love you to do that. So there is the link to join us as a member. I'm not sure, Sandro and Orquídea, there is a couple more questions. Do you want to take it, or should we send the answers?
I think you have a meeting straight after. It depends also on you. So
okay, I can stay. Yeah, I can stay
yeah.
I will stay for a bit more, 5 minutes. So let's go for this.
You want to do?
Ugo just asked, and this is quite an open-ended question, which is always good. So thank you for doing that. If you had to do it again from scratch, what would you do differently?
I think nothing.
Oh wow.
That's a very good question, which try to think about that, but every step was very well balanced, very well thought through, because we had a set of steering committee that was validating what we were doing at every stage. So we had a gated approach, okay, to move on at each stage. So we had a many rollback, okay. So this question, if you say, I will from the very beginning, maybe this is a bit of open chat with you, Orquídea. So maybe spend a bit more time learning the operating model of entities. I think it's a feedback I already gave, but I would love to learn, because they were all different. They were all operating with different technologies, so on. That is something, maybe factor a bit more time on that, but time was super tight, so we focused on getting things done in terms of assessment. But if you learn better the operating model, you can actually even tailor the engagement experience with them. So maybe that is one of the learning.
Yes, but actually, I'm thinking about how we are now with already the self-assessment tool developed and ready to be used by everyone, and we are receiving feedback to adapt to this operating model. So
Okay.
That's why, imagine, for me, I would not do it different because I know that it's not a hard stop for this topic. It will be a continuous journey. And Saint-Gobain, it's so diverse that you will not, for sure, be able to, adapt to everyone. I have sure of it. So we tried with some, that's why we did a pilot with different scopes and different business units with different operating models, but it's hard to do it for everyone. So if you try at least the ones with more impact, or the big ones, let's say not big ones, but with more impact, I think then it's easier for us now to adapt to some small changes. Even if you think the company is evolving. So with the lead and grow, our strategic plan now, we are evolving. So the dynamic needs to be recurrent. So that's why maybe I answered no, because I think we did it at the right pace, in the sense that we engage with some of the BUs, we spend time to create a framework, then we spend time to engage in workshops with everyone, and then we spend time to think about what we learn with this, and then we spend time to create the tool. So it was not let's do everything now. No, it was something planned just for you to have. Sandro, when we started together, because internally we already started the 6 months before we started to work together.
Yeah, you started your.
Yeah,
but I think
2023 maybe that we started this
yeah,
journey. So it's
2023,
just to give you an idea that it's nothing that you will do like this and it will happen. It was a long journey.
Yeah, no, I think we are complementing the response, because you're looking now, I was looking at the beginning, so that's why.
That's really, really, really cool. So once again, thank you for everyone that joined us today. On behalf of DAMA Portugal Lisbon, I want to thank Orquídea for coming and sharing, Saint-Gobain for being open to share your story and your journey. I want to thank Sandro and BI4ALL for not only hosting and helping hosting this webinar today, but for being our gold partner. We look forward to keep working closely together. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I learned a lot, so I hope others too. So have an excellent weekend. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.